All right, Coach, another week has gone by since we last talked. You're less than, I guess, about 5 days away from the season opener. It was just hard to believe. Just talk a little bit about where you guys are at right now.
Well, we're still working on gaining consistency in everything that we do. We're getting to that point, though, where we're getting antsy. We want to play somebody besides ourselves and see what we need to work on and what some new focuses need to be. But just in terms of being able, another good week of practice, so we were able to get out and get after it most every day last week. So I'm excited.
You just talked to me a little bit off the camera about, really looking forward to playing somebody else this weekend as opposed to seeing your kids against each other.
Yeah, I don't think any coach can be happy with inter-squad scrimmages. You're either happy with the way the pitchers and the defense did, or you're really happy with the way your offense did, but usually the opposite of that you're disappointed in. So, I need to see them against an offense that's not our own, and that way be able to evaluate our pitchers, and likewise need to see our hitters hitting off different pitchers besides our own. So that'll show us a lot, and those first 5 games aren't anybody of any real consequence as far as we're concerned, so it'll be a good test for us to see where we're at and how we're stacking up.
What have you kind of talked to your kids about this first week? I mean, do you go in there with goals as far as, hey, you know what, we want to take 4 or 5, or is it a matter of, we just want to go out and get better one day at a time?
That's it. Really, we want to be better in March than we are in February. We want to be better in April than we are in March, and we want to be better in May, as good as we can be at that particular time of the season for postseason play. So, it's about building every day. We certainly have expectations of games that we think we should win and how we should do, but right now it's really about us being better and about focusing on our uniform and who's wearing that than the opposition's uniform and who's wearing that.
You got basically 4 days of practice left before you do open the season. What's going to be kind of the concentration down the stretch here?
Well, I want them to get excited, and it's not saying they haven't been, but I want the energy level to rise back up. And when I came here, obviously new coach, new system, there was a lot of energy around, and it's not saying we've lost it, but it's certainly plateaued. And I want them chomping at the bit to play somebody else. So I think the first thing we're going to focus on is just getting the energy level at its absolute highest and really getting after it.
Let's talk a little bit about your outfield this year. Pretty deep group. I know you lost Caitlin Hill for the year with shoulder surgery, so she'll redshirt. But let's talk a little bit about that group.
Yeah, it's really it's a great group as far as being able to mix and match some offensive weapons versus defensive weapons. We've got some kids who are left-handed batters versus right-handed batters, so it really allows us to maximize kind of their abilities to what the opposition brings, and so that we can always kind of set ourselves up for success. The depth factor is great, and then we have a bigger hitter in Cassie versus a more speedy player in Janine, and just those little things really gives us an edge in terms of creating good lineup matchups.
Let's talk about each one of the outfield spots. Let's start with center field. What are you kind of looking at there?
Well, Daisha's going to anchor us. She's one of the captains on the team. She'll be the defensive kind of presence we need, as well as the offensive presence in terms of being in center field and be the leader and the vocal captain kind of out there at that spot. Left field will probably be anchored by Kristen Miles, just the speedy kid from Plano. She's so fast. She just wreaks havoc on the bases. She puts pressure on the defense. She even does against us, and we know it's coming. So that's nice to see. And she's growing defensively and getting better every day, so she's been a pleasant surprise. Right field will probably be where you see the most flexibility out of us this year. That'll be the matchup spot of whether we need to be strong in the 6th or 7th inning defensively with somebody like Janine, or we need to be maybe a more offensive threat in the beginning of the game with somebody like Cassie. When Mel's returns, not only will she pitch and possibly compete at shortstop, but she's somebody whose bat's got to stay in the lineup, so she'll probably bounce out in right field some as well.